Welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Real glad that you could join us for another segment. We're going to be speaking with Mr. Jeff Bova in this segment. He's joining us here as Chief Commercial Officer at UroGen Pharma to talk a bit about the launch of the only FDA-approved non-surgical treatment for patients with low-grade upper tract urothelial carcinoma. Welcome to Health Professional Radio, Mr. Jeff Bova.
Thank you for having me, Neil.
Well, give us a brief look into your professional background, if you would, and talk about your role at UroGen.
Sure. So I've got 25 years in the pharmaceutical biotech space, all of which is really on the commercial side, sales, marketing, market access. Prior to UroGen, I was at Bayer Healthcare, where we launched a drug in the genitourinary space. And then what brought me to UroGen is obviously another opportunity to launch, hopefully more than one drug, but to launch a drug in the genitourinary space as well. Out of those 25 years, around, I'd say 15 to 16 have really been in genitourinary cancers, calling on urologists. And so I was really excited 4 years ago to come over here to UroGen and lead the commercial launch of our first product.
Urothelial cancer, or UTUC. What exactly is that? What are its causes, if we know, and what has the go-to treatment been?
So sure. So UTUC is basically tumors within your kidney. Your kidney has calyces, which are almost like fingers. And for a rare portion of patients, just 6,000 to 7,000 in a year here in the U.S., they either recur, meaning they already had some tumors and it's a highly recurrent disease, or they're newly diagnosed. So it is rare disease. And prior to us coming to market, the only real options were either some sort of endoscopic resection. So urologists would go up and ablate the tumors, try to eradicate all of the tumor within the kidney. Or what often happens, unfortunately, is the urologist will have to remove the entire kidney in order to hopefully get rid of that cancer. And as you know, this is an elderly population that really shouldn't be going under general anesthesia a lot of the times, and certainly want to preserve kidney function in this space. But it's a rare disease, and we studied it in low-grade UTUC.
Being rare, how many people in this elderly population would you say are affected?
Yeah, it's around 6,000 to 7,000. Around half of those recur. So every year, about 3,000 to 4,000 will recur. The one thing about the surgery is it's a very hard place to navigate. It's a cloudy field. There's obviously blood there. And the disease, even though physicians, urologists will try to get all of the tumor, it's a very highly recurrent cancer. So about 3,000 to 4,000 of those patients recur. And then 3,000 to 4,000 are newly diagnosed every year here in the U.S. So
it's kind of difficult to even diagnose based on where it is and its properties, yeah?
It is, and it's often, the first sign is blood in the urine, and blood in the urine can mean so many different things, but you can imagine that it's alarming to anyone, particularly an elderly patient. It is difficult. That starts usually with hematuria or blood in the urine. Then there's workup in the urology office to determine the correct diagnosis.
Have there been many advances in treatment over the last, decade or so?
There really haven't. It's been for decades, those two options, which were some sort of endoscopic resection, an RNU, which is a radical nephroureterectomy, which is where they remove the entire kidney, or they could do a partial RNU. And so we were excited to bring another treatment option to patients and another treatment option to surgeons, the urologists.
So what is that option?
Sure. So UroGen really started, our first innovative product was founded around what's called RT gel. And this proprietary gel reverses the properties of heating and cooling. So when you think about heating and cooling, if you cool something down, it freezes. If you heat it up, it melts. The scientists in Israel, where we were headquartered, were able to work with the molecules, polymers, and we actually reverse the heating and cooling properties. So when the gel is cooled, it becomes a liquid. It's then mixed with an active drug, a chemotherapy drug, And then when it enters the body, so the gel is cooled, it's administered into the kidney. The kidney and the body temperature will actually heat the gel up and it becomes a semi-solid. So it stays in the kidney for 4 to 6 hours, allowing hopefully that chemotherapy to work on those tumors in the kidney. And that was really the basis of how we started with the first drug and also our second, which is in development, which will be in bladder cancer patients. So there's 2 ways to administer it. You could go up through the ureter into the kidney. You can also have a catheter. Patients can also have a catheter placed in their back, through their back into the kidney, where it's capped off, and you could administer the product that way. So you cool it prior to administration to obviously get it to liquid form. They administer it through a catheter. Once all of the drug is administered, they remove the catheter. Whether that catheter is in through the urethra or the ureter, or through the patient's back into the kidney.
Is UroGen in this all alone? Are there any, I guess, key partnerships or any collaborations that you're either currently involved in or working toward?
We are. We have a couple partnerships with some major academic centers. The nice thing when you think about the gel is that anywhere in the body that is a cavity that could potentially allow the gel with the active drug to work is an opportunity for us. So not just in the urinary tract, but we're certainly looking in brain, head and neck cancers, glioblastoma, colorectal. We're looking at other areas to where we can put an active agent with this newly innovative technology and see if we can get a systemic response to those cancers.
Give us a website where we can learn more about UroGen and about the technologies that you're going to be developing there.
Sure. Our corporate website is www.urogen.com.
Well, I appreciate you joining us here on Health Professional Radio this morning, Jeff. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Neil.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard, in conversation with Jeff Bova, Chief Commercial Officer at UroGen Pharma. Audio copies of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Listen in, download at SoundCloud, and be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com, Health Professional Radio.